Do you remember Jack and Oliver from high school?
No.
Jack and Oliver, your face?
Fuck! You're listening to Too Damn Loud. My name is Jake. I'm the guitarist. I almost said bassist of Homestyle Dinner
You're
Rolls.
not the fucking bassist.
I know. Who would
Are
want
you coming after my shit right now?
No one on earth would want to be the bassist over the guitarist.
I think the bassist is arguably the best position.
Explain.
Because it is fun. It is the backbone of the entire song. And, like, the thing is, if you're the bassist, like, you don't have as much pressure on you, but you still get to have...
Because no one can hear you.
You still... you still get to have the fun that the other members of the band get to have and have the fulfillment of, like, oh, I'm playing this music and I love my part and I'm passionate about the art I'm creating, but you're less in the spotlight, so it's less intense on you. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, unless you're the singer as well.
unless you're also... Unless you're also the singer of the band and make the videos of the podcast.
Yeah, which is what Danny does as well. So this is Danny, the bassist. I'm the guitarist of Homestyle Dinner Rolls, and we've got a real special episode because I'm going to ask you questions.
Oh.
Do you think you're ready for that?
No. I mean, I'm scared and nervous and excited and thrilled.
Yeah, sure. Tell me
all at the same time.
All your feelings.
I'm having
that's
this,
fine.
Like, just volcano explode. Okay, don't you know? If that's the energy that we're going into this episode with, and then you're going to ask me a lot of questions about my life.
Yeah, you're excited, aren't you?
You know what? I think it'll be a good time.
No, it'll be good. Remember what we did last week where you asked me questions?
Yes, I do.
Same shit?
Same shit.
Same shit.
Same shit.
Same shit.
All right,
now,
man.
I recently took an IQ test. And
this ought to be good.
No, I did. I took an IQ test, and it turns out I kind of looked it up, and it turns out they just kind of want to give you validation.
Okay, what?
If that makes sense. Like, it's more
You're
about...
like, no, you're smart.
Yeah, exactly. I took it, and, it told me I was smart, so I was like, that's cool. But one of the questions literally was this, and I want you to answer it.
Okay, so is this my impromptu IQ test?
Just one question of an IQ test.
Okay, I don't know why, like, I'm scared.
You're nervous.
I'm nervous. I'm like, are we about to show everyone that I'm really fucking stupid?
This is literally the question. Name the first 5 months of the year.
January, February, March, April, May.
May you put my balls back in your mouth, motherfucker? It feels so good. Oh, yeah.
Fuck you, man. Fuck you. Piece of shit.
Yes!
You piece of shit. You motherfucker. I'm so mad right now. I am seething. I am seething. I hope you can feel me seethe.
Stupid.
I didn't even laugh. I didn't even laugh.
That was the IQ test
If
right
I
there.
don't laugh at a D's nuts joke, that's how you know that I'm just upset by it. I'm not even tickled. I'm just... All that went through my head when you said that was like, oh, you fucking wait.
Okay.
Oh, you fucking
Hey, we'll
wait,
see.
buddy.
We'll see. But all I'm saying is I just got your ass. I got your ass.
Oh, great.
Anyway.
That does not compare to my goblin one from last week.
No, mine was more of a stretch. I'm not gonna lie. But I woke up this morning and I was like,
You're like, I have to. May he puts his balls in my mouth.
May you. Anyway.
My favorite thing to do with those jokes is I ask someone to like a D's nuts joke, and then I say, May you put your balls in my mouth? Just like flip it.
May you put your balls in my mouth?
And then be like, wait, hold on, back it up. Pause.
Listen.
Okay.
What would you change about yourself besides the obvious?
Well, naturally, I mean, I gotta ask. A guy's gotta know what's the obvious. That is crazy phrasing, by the way. What would I change about myself other than the obvious? Where to begin? Where to begin with what I would change myself, I think, is the real question.
One of my friends asked one of my friends that question.
Oh, so we're just going to go to a different thing?
No. And I'm explaining where I got the question from. One of my friends asked my friend that question.
Yeah.
And he got mad about it for like days.
What? Actually?
He's like, what the fuck do you mean the obvious?
Oh, fuck.
It's like, it's a joke.
Fuck, dude.
It's a joke. Oh, yeah, but answer.
Oh, honestly, I wish,
because everyone does have things.
Genuinely, like, just to the core of like my day-to-day life, social anxiety is such a bitch that if there's the first thing I would axe would probably be that social anxiety, because it's like the ability. I think human connection is the most beautiful part of life, and I think the ability to just walk up to someone and just have a conversation and not feel like I'm dying all the time would be great. I think would be great.
Anxiety in general is so fucking stupid.
It's so fucking stupid. But honestly, like the beauty of that is like I'm talking about that, but also I've worked through so much of that just in therapy. So it's like you can change all those things about yourself.
It's true.
You just have to do it.
It's not like a snap of the finger.
Yeah.
And also you get a sense of accomplishment, you know?
Yeah.
I also looked it up. It turns out people just like it was like, what does an IQ test mean, you know? And it turns out the higher your IQ, the more likely you are to be like really sad.
No, it's true.
Like,
that's 1,000,000% true. The
out.
saddest people in the world are the smartest people in the world, because it's kind of like it just loops back to the age-old ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Because when you have a deep understanding of the world, it's like, and not saying that I do or you do or anything, but it's like I feel like some of the reason we can be happy is because we aren't always thinking about the, deep atrocities that happen in everyday life.
Every single
and how
day.
Absolutely depressing it is.
Kurt Cobain, I watched a video of him and he said...
He killed himself.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Continue.
When?
I don't remember.
He made a video and he's like, man... Well, he didn't make a video. I saw a video and he was like, I just wish, like... Sometimes I wish I could just come home, turn on football, and just drink.
And just
You know,
and
he's
just
like,
be like,
"'Cause
no worries.
I would be happier." And I was like, "Oh, that's so true."
Totally.
That's the problem about the system that we have going right now is if you actually are willingly part of it, if you're a participant, you actually are happy.
Yeah.
If you're like, I trust my government, I trust the corporations, all good.
But also, like, I remember there was something that my dad told me earlier this year, because I was getting, like, I went through, or I guess it was last year, because I went through, like, a breakup, and I was in a really low spot, and I was, like, really fucking depressed. And I was telling him, but I was like, I feel so selfish, because here I am, like, whining about my breakup, and, like, people are dying over in Gaza, and, like, there are so many homeless, and it's like, I'm so selfish to be like, man, my problems.
My heart.
And he told me, he was like, you cannot diminish your sadness because of, like, everything else that's going on. It's like, that's the beauty of life. And if we let go of letting ourselves be sad about the small things and being happy about the small things, there's no reason to live. So I think that, like, another just part of this is you have to let yourself enjoy walking down the street and just smelling the roses.
Yeah.
And you have to let yourself enjoy sitting down and watching a movie, because if we don't allow ourselves, even thinking about the crushing weight of, descending into fascism and all that good stuff, if we don't allow ourselves to sit down with our loved ones and, play Call of Duty for 5 hours and just allow ourselves those small joys, there's no point in living, because then what are we fighting for?
So if we don't play Call of Duty, there's no point.
No point. You can quote me and say Call of Duty is the reason I wake up in the fucking morning.
But it's true. And to quote the almighty, fantastic,
Mr. Fox,
comedic, hilarious.
Those are the only people with fantastic names I can think of.
Smartest person alive, handsomest, tallest. Joe Rogan. And it's not even his quote, but it's when I watched Joe Rogan forever ago. He what did he say? He said
Joe Rogan.
It's bad.
Give me a fucking. I hate that motherfucker, dude.
What
a tool, dude! What a tool.
Joe Rogan now would hate. Well, no, sorry. Joe Rogan back then would hate Joe Rogan.
What a
now.
sellout, man! He's such a sellout, and he's just a. Oh my god.
He has billionaires on his show, and he just hypes them up. Like, I'm not joking. If you watch Joe Rogan 10 years ago, it's like he's still like conspiratorial and crazy and everything, but he's not like this alt-right.
He's spineless, man.
He hates He hated billionaires, or said he did, and then got a ton of money and was like, these are my people, we're friends. And he's not even a billionaire. I don't know what he has to earn, but he said something on a show. He quoted someone else. That was the joke I was making. He said, the worst thing you've ever experienced is the worst thing you've ever experienced. Meaning, so like if the worst thing you've ever experienced is like
a breakup,
it is still the worst thing you've ever experienced.
And it has weight, and you should allow it to have weight.
I remember my first breakup, dude. That was the worst thing ever. Like, I was depressed for so long.
100%. And I think it's so important and so human to allow ourselves to feel that pain. And if we're going through shit, no matter how small it is, it's like all of that emotion is valid because we're feeling it. Mm-hmm. Like, even if it's something like, oh my God, I was at work and someone said something to me like about my appearance and it made me super mad all day, but it's so little and so stupid. It's like, no, it's okay.
No, but like,
find out why. I was listening to, it's so funny how often when we're talking about deep shit, I bring up my Dungeons and Dragons podcast I listen to.
Yeah.
But I was listening to like one, and the comedian Ali Beardsley, they were saying like a quote that their therapist told them. And it was that when you get angry over something small or super upset over something small,
not that thing.
That's your check engine light going on. That's your check engine light popping up and saying, oh, there is a deep-rooted issue that I got to figure out.
Go check it out.
So you got to take the car to the mechanic and figure out why things are breaking out and such heavy and strong emotions are coming out of someone. You got to work on it.
It's true.
But that's humanity, dude. That's the whole point of being alive. Is little emotions and little joys, and so we can't spiral too much thinking about the state of the world.
Exactly.
I don't know how we got here, but I
don't
like
know
this conversation.
It went from what would you change about yourself besides the obvious?
Yeah. Also, I would love to be able to focus on things.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, I literally, like, it's so bad. I'll, like, sit down and I'll play a video game for 30 minutes. It'll be like, my brain hates this now. And then I'll, like, go on to, like, I try to stay away from TikTok because, like, those fucking short attention span things can make me spiral on that. But, like, then I'll read for 30 minutes. Then I'll clean for 20 minutes. Then I'll just lay down and stare at the ceiling. Then I'll walk around my house for 10 minutes. Then I'll do a bit of laundry.
And the worst is when you can't focus and you're anxious.
I know. And then you're like, oh my God, I haven't done anything. And then you start spiraling.
And then you're like, but I can't focus. And you're more anxious.
And then it's 9 p.m. and you're like, fuck, my entire day is gone. Exactly. Now I got to do everything that I didn't do. So I got to rush and now I'm stressed.
And you put your phone away.
Now I'm going to bed.
You put your phone away and you're like, I've been on my phone too long. And then you get back on it 3 minutes later because you forgot that you were getting off
I would love to, like, how great does it sound to just be like, oh, I'm just going to go, like, do a chore and then get it all done.
And then do it.
And then be like, man, that was great. I'm going to sit down and just, like, play a game. And then you just do that. And then, like, your brain just pays attention to it the whole
everything.
time.
And it's present. And the thing is, to do a chore or something like that, what I've realized is I have to do one of two things. I have to either make it fun somehow, like, I have to hyperfixate, and normally where the hyperfixation comes from is my room is so dirty, like, and that's the problem. I don't care until it's really, really bad,
Yeah, totally.
Or I just tell myself, I'm like, you're doing it, and then I go, I don't want to. I'll do. Nope, you're doing it. Shut up. But that doesn't work all the time.
Something that helps me a lot, which is a tip I found online for ADHD, and it's just set 15-minute timers. And just be like, I'm going to set a 15-minute timer, and I'm going to clean for 15 minutes. And then I'm going to set after that, I'm going to set a 5-minute timer to just sit down, and then I'm going to set another 15-minute timer and just work in little chunks.
That actually sounds great.
It's amazing. Because then, like, once there's a little bit of order to it, it almost feels more. And also, like, I do that when I'm relaxing. Like, and also I have such, like, ADHD paralysis over decision making. And so that wheel that I look up for decisions at, like, restaurants, I'll sit down. Last night, I got home from work and I sat down and I put 4 video games on the wheel because I couldn't decide and it was too stressful. And I spun it and whatever. I was like, whatever it lands on, I'm going to play for 30 minutes.
Yep.
And then I do that and I look at the clock and I'm like, all right, 30 minutes. I'm just going to play this game and fate chose it. And so I'm just going to not get distracted and just zero in, and then I have a great time, and that's how I'm able to work.
Do you ever do that, but then like a coin flip or like the wheel thing, and then realize.
And you're like, oh man, I didn't want that one.
You do have a preference.
Totally, you do. And then it also helps though because you're like, oh, okay, I was disappointed for this, which means that I know I want the other one.
Exactly. Because for some reason, like
so crazy,
you don't want to hurt. It's like you don't want to hurt its feelings, but you don't want to
literally that. Yeah, totally.
and you don't want to miss out.
Yes, and it's like, oh, but what if I play The Witcher?
And
but
it's better.
I really wanted to play like Undertale, and
that is paralysis, man. Where it's like,
yeah,
if I play this,
it's crazy.
If I play this, will I have missed out on this? But if I play this, I'll feel bad because I
originally wanted to play this, but now it's been 30 minutes and I could have been playing either one.
Exactly.
And it's crazy. So I'd love to change that. I think another thing that I want to change, but this is something from like a few months ago that I was like, I want to change this about myself, and I've been doing a little better, is I just want to spend more time telling the people that I love them, and just reaching out and just being present and just talking, because I feel like I get so engrossed in like all of my time has to be prioritized.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? But it's like, that's not fucking true. The important things in life aren't like maximizing my time in every day so that I can be productive and I can take care of my mental health and I can make money and I can, like not burn myself out, but I can still do this. It's like, no, my time should be like, it's the most beautiful things in life is just calling someone to be like, hey, what's up? Hey, I miss you. Hey, I love you. Just so you know.
Your priorities.
Hey, you should come over and watch a movie.
Your priorities should definitely be relationships.
Yes.
But since money was invented, they're like, that's the least of your worries. You should be doing something else.
Which is ridiculous.
And then you get that feeling of, I should be doing something else.
And then you feel so empty because you've been spending all your time
and people die
on money. Yeah.
People die after 80 years of working, and what do they bring to their grave?
Nothing.
Money. And people show up and they say, yeah, like I loved them, I miss them, but then like at the end of the day, they didn't really have as strong of a relationship as they could have.
Honestly, I think the only substance and the only wealth that you can really have and take with you for the rest of your days is memories.
Bitcoin. Buy Bitcoin, everybody.
It's memories and it is like
memories,
just relationships and love and fulfillment and care.
Here's my thing: you will feel regret,
yes,
at times, but I think the biggest regret you could ever feel is not prioritizing a relationship, not doing what you want to. There are people that. You think of like a white man in his 45th year, and his wife left him because he cares too much about work and everything. And I made all this up in my head, but like that's a stereotype. And they go, I would do anything to get her back. And it's like, you should have prioritized. But again, when especially older guys, people in general, it's like, okay, you're the provider, you do your thing, and they'll love you for that.
Yeah.
They convince you, if you make money, they will love you. Make money.
If you make money, you are being a good father to your kids and to your family, and you are providing for them, and that's what matters.
If they don't make enough money, they feel this anger all the time. You know? They feel inadequate, but they're not emotionally intelligent enough to understand what is happening.
Totally.
So then they take it out on everyone around them, and then people leave. Shit, man.
No, it's fucked up, dude. But it's true. But like. Honestly, like ever since like I had that moment of like, I want to make this change, I'm just gonna call people more for no reason. No reason. I don't need a reason to call like my parents or my siblings to just talk. And life has been so much better.
I like that.
So much better. And like I've just been like hanging out with friends more, and it makes life so much more full and happy and like full of memories and love and experiences. So just
what I've been doing lately is, as in the past 2 days, because I watched a YouTube video and it was explaining, it was like what you should do if you can is get up, like your alarm goes off and you just get up. Don't hit the snooze, just get up. And so, because I used to do that all the time in junior high, I was a champ. I would just get up, and I've always noticed my life is better. I'm in a better mental state when I do that. Probably not because of that, but you understand. but I've been doing it the past few days, and all of a sudden I'm like, I can focus, and I'm happy.
Wow.
But I've also what I've been doing is waking up, drinking water, maybe just doing like literally like 30 seconds of just stretching my body or something.
Oh shit.
Or like going out front for a second, walking, just like in circles.
Just getting up.
Just literally getting up and then reading a book, but like getting out, not getting on my phone at least for an hour.
Wow.
And honestly,
that's great.
It sounds like stupid and easy, but like truly my life has been a little bit happier.
No, that doesn't sound stupid. I mean, honestly, like that is that hour, that's the most defining part of your entire day. That sets the precedent for the rest of your day.
The reason it is because you're something about how your cortisol levels are just waking up.
Yeah.
And your dopamine is at the height of the day.
Dude, I genuinely think like some of the happiest like stretches of time that I've been like physically is when I would wake up at like 6 a.m. and just get up, go to the gym.
Yeah.
I just get up, go to the gym, start the day with a workout, and then I leave. It's like 7 a.m., like the sun is shining, and I already feel like I've accomplished something.
Yeah.
And I feel awake,
Productive.
and my body feels alive, and like I've been working, and then I can have a nice breakfast and start
sleep
my
better.
things.
It's very odd. You sleep better. But and it's interesting how just one little hard decision of just being like, I'm getting up, you know? Like I hate getting up.
It sucks so fucking
But I
bad.
decided I was like, I'm just gonna try it. I'm gonna see, because what happens when you wake up and you just get on your phone, it's like your dopamine, and then I know
you're so dead. Yeah,
But then the rest of the day, you'll notice you'll just get back on your phone a lot more because that's
true.
what gives you the feeling.
I've been so bad with that recently.
Have you?
It's been terrible. Oh yeah, I just wake up, go right on my phone for at least like 10 minutes.
Pain,
I
right?
know.
Because and that's the thing is with Instagram, since we make videos and TikTok and stuff, I go, oh, let's see how the video did, and then I just boom.
No, literally, that's exactly what I
scroll
do.
for so
I'm
long.
like, oh, I want to see how the video did overnight, and then I am on the For You page for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I saw like, oh, this is an interesting like thing that happened in current events recently, and then I read a bunch about that.
And then I get upset about the government. Like I spiral so quickly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I notice when I wake up and I go right into just looking at shit, I am just upset all day. Like I've done it for like 2 to 3 hours. I'll wake up and just scroll for 3 hours.
I've done that
Have you
too.
ever done that?
Oh yeah.
Dude, and I'm like, I thought I was over this shit. I'm not in like junior high, you know? Speaking of
It's so funny.
high school, when you would get up at 6 a.m. and go,
Yes.
you know? I remember I did that with my friend. We would get up and I would go pick him up and we would go. And we didn't know how to take pre-workout. We didn't understand it. And the thing told us to take 2 scoops. And so we took 2 scoops of pre-workout every morning.
Oh
and
my God.
Yeah, looking back, I'm like, that's 400 milligrams.
That's crazy.
And the rest of the day, I was always so happy and wired.
Well,
and I was
yeah,
like,
because
dude,
you
I feel
had
great.
400 milligrams of caffeine.
And the pump would never, it left like 8 hours later.
Dude, my partner and I, we've been going to the gym a little bit more recently, and we've been doing like hella stretches after the workouts.
Feels good, man.
And oh my God, like standing up and like walking around after I've been like lifting for an hour, and then I stretch super hard.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it feels amazing.
It's so much better because people...
It's a lot better for your body too.
Yeah, I don't stretch before.
I don't stretch before.
Because every time I stretch before, I feel like nothing happens. But after you lift, you know, you do all that shit, then you stretch. It's like, it's like a big
really great
release. And then it feels like there's even more serotonin, more happiness. Like all of a sudden, not only now are you happy because you worked out, but now you're happy and relaxed.
Yeah.
Because you worked out and you stretched.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Man, that's
Let's go to the
awesome.
next question.
Yeah, that was question number 1.
Hey, to be fair, you
No,
did
that-
lead with what would you like to change about yourself,
and
that just naturally leads to some deep convo.
Well, yeah, and might I add, I agree with literally every single thing you said. Like, I
Yeah.
would change each of those about you. Just kidding.
I also think you need to fucking work on that.
No,
you
I
piece
would
of
change
shit.
that about me.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
straight up.
honestly, like
I think anyone
I don't
would.
think any of those things is like I want to.
It's not
continuously work on that, and it's not
Exactly.
like. Obviously, I think there's an accomplishment in being like, I'm getting better at it, but that's something I want to continuously work on forever.
Exactly.
Like, I always
Make
want to
it-
be better at connecting with people and prioritizing the people in my
Exactly.
life, and being able to focus on things and like lowering anxieties. Like I've made so much progress in all of those fields from like 1, 2, 3 years ago, but I want to keep going. And
Exactly.
I think it's beautiful.
And I want to go to the point where it's not habit, where I don't have to think about, okay, I'm going to reach out.
Interesting.
I don't want to think about, okay, I'm going to wake up and just get out of bed. I want it to just be my
love that.
nature.
I
just want it to just happen. And I'm not sure if that will ever happen, but like I'm not sure if that's how it works, but I have this fantasy in my head where it just comes naturally. But the thing is, if everyone were born that way, we would all do it. We would all tell people we love them while we can. We would all this and that. But I'm going to skip this next question.
Why?
I'll ask it. Fine. You know what? Let's do it. It's another deep question.
Oh yeah, let's do a silly one.
It's not, okay. Let's do it.
Let's do a silly one, then circle back. Not to micromanage you asking me questions.
Jenny, these are my questions. When do you want? No. What's your favorite Dungeons and Dragons campaign you've ever done?
You son of a bitch! You son of a bitch!
Come on.
Oh man.
Throw a dog a bone.
Man. Thank you so much. I'm genuinely really excited to talk about D&D.
Because when we played it last time, I had a good time.
Okay, so there's a few different answers because
Then you fucking made fun of me.
I love all of the campaigns that I've done a lot. I think the one that I'm playing right now with my friends is probably my favorite campaign I've ever done. Just because like in a lot of Dungeons and Dragons campaigns that I've played, it's been like me and one other person really want to play. And then we get like 4 other people
ton of halvesies.
who like don't really want to play, but they're our friends, so they're like, we'll try it out. So you have 2 people who are like in it, and the other one's like, I don't know, I guess I roll. What's that? I tag that guy, I guess. And it's still really fun. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And like everyone still has a good time. But
You have good sports.
You have good sports, but I think like in this new campaign, and that's not like I'm not trying to throw shade at people who are new at D&D either. Because in my new campaign, my friend Theo has never played before, doesn't know any of the rules,
And
but he came in with the energy of I want to get into this, and it was immediately so fun. It was immediately so fun, and like you can tell, I could totally tell like he like didn't know, because the role play aspect of Dungeons and Dragons is kind of hard to get into at first because you
so
feel like
foreign,
you're
bro.
on a stage. You get like stage fright almost.
You're like, what am I?
Because you're like, what am?
Like,
literally.
You are improv.
But then after a while, it just becomes like, oh, I'm just dicking around with my friends. But I'm really excited. This new campaign, it's kind of like our DM is really great, and he did something that I think every DM should do, which is he asked all the players, what movies and books and games, what media do you like? And so my partner and I, we're super into like gothic and shit. And so we gave him a bunch of like ooky spooky answers. And like I'm playing like a blood hunter, vampire hunter, and my partner is playing a vampire. And we told him like, I love Blade, I love The Matrix, I love like Devil May Cry, that kind of stuff. And so he wrote the campaign around that. And he wrote it around what we like and around
And
like,
the other people?
It's a lot of action and the other people told him like, oh, this is what I like.
Yeah.
And so he takes that, okay, these are the kind of energies that my players want, and he caters to
interesting.
it so
That's
that we
really cool.
are like, oh my God, I'm really interested in this. Because like the campaign we're playing is like we're trapped in this little magic bubble, and there's this huge like spooky forest with all of these monsters, and we've got to like go and rescue things and like kill ghosts and do all this stuff. And so it's just really fun to play in that space. But I think my favorite character maybe that I've ever played, I just have such a soft spot. This character named Mark. And he was 3 monkeys in a trench coat pretending to be a human man.
That's sick.
I know.
Wait. So which one is Mark? Or they are Mark?
Mark is
them.
So Mark is them.
character.
But the character that I was playing,
What
was
are the
like
monkeys'
a
names?
monkey who was, you don't know. And he's like the leader of a cult who was banished from his country because he's like super evil.
Yeah.
He's like a genuinely really evil character, but he brought his 2 followers and he stands on their like shoulders. And warlocks have an ability where you can just like change your appearance at will. So he just looked like a human, and he was like, hello, I am
That's
Mark, the
creepy as
human. And it was really fun to play
Is it
around with
Markiplier?
him. Huh? No, I don't think so, but that sounded like, hello, everybody, my name is
Markiplier.
Markiplier. But I also, I have to, another favorite one is just the campaign that I wrote, which you saw a little taste
I did
of.
the beginning.
But it has really fun lore that's like centric around this world and like 5 ancient dragons who used to be gods and then like vanished from the land. And like it's all these cool areas. There's like a place called the Iron Sea with a bunch of different islands and pirates, and there's like an underground skeleton king and like
spoilers
mines with orcs and shit. It's really fun.
Well, the question is, could someone in theory be a DM and just wing it, or would they would they have to write a whole story?
I mean, obviously, if you're a DM and you're just winging it, you mean like writing it all on the spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. It would be really stressful.
It'd probably be hard because you have to remember all the shit.
But also, I think you have to do that sometimes. My first campaign, so in that story with like the lady who comes in covered in blood and is like, my kids are missing, I always assumed when I wrote that campaign out, I was like, okay, they're going to go with the lady and they're going to go into the forest first thing. And that's where my adventure started. And the first time I played that with a group of 6 people, they all were like, all right, well, let's go to the crime scene. Let's go to the house.
Whoa.
And I was like, and so in my head, on the spot, I was like, all right, you show up to this small hut in the central village, and there are like 2 chalk outlines of where the kids were and blood dragged out. And they're like, all right, we're going to look for clues. And I had to make up clues on the spot.
Improv.
And they went up and like looked through drawers, and I gave them like a small necklace that was a family heirloom that traced them back to the kids. And I like wrote that on the spot.
Damn,
but for a DM, you got to do a lot of that. And I remember telling one of my players, I was like, I was making all that shit up. And they're like, what?
That's cool.
Yeah, but
you have to wing it.
Dungeons and Dragons is so fun, man. Dude, it is so fun.
It does sound... Here's the thing about it. I would like to just not have to learn about the multipliers, this, that.
No, you don't have to.
I would just like to roll and then someone tells me what happens.
Yeah, and you can do that. Also, like, there's a lot of really great, like, websites. There's a website called D&D Beyond that we actually use for the campaign I'm in right now, and you don't have to know anything. You can go in, and they have like basically like an easy mode for creating a character, and you're like, I want to be an elf, I want to be a wizard, my name is Markiplier.
Jilm.
My name is Jilm, and I'm an elf wizard, and you click go, and it auto-fills everything out. And then your DM's like, all right, make an investigation check. And you just click on it and it rolls for you even. I mean, obviously rolling the dice is fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
And then it has like, you're like, all right, what can I do? And there's a little spells tab. And it's like, here are all your spells.
Interesting.
And it just does all the crunchy math that you don't want to do for you.
Yeah.
But then, the more you play, obviously you're like, oh, this is starting to become a lot more fun and I'm more interested in the numbers.
Yeah, and you understand the numbers more.
Yeah.
Because then you read the numbers and you're like, oh my God, so that hit's actually going to kill him.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Because it can be overwhelming at first, for sure. But like if you have a good group and like people who, I think it's important to have at least a couple people who really know the rules. You know what I'm talking about? Which is like, if we play together, I can just walk you through everything.
Yeah.
Because literally D&D and TTRPGs can be as simple as like, you don't have to know anything. You just show up and you're like, all right, I want to do a backflip onto this table and like shoot my crossbow at this guy. And they're like, all right, roll this dice and tell me what number it is. And that says yes or no.
Yeah, yeah. At the end of the day, is it more just a yes or no? If you really think about it, if we're getting into probabilities, the D20, the D4, whatever, is it just 50-50?
No, not at all.
No?
Well, it depends because it's like it varies so much for so many different things.
Because there could be 3 options.
Because there could be a ton of also like there's when you roll a D20 in Dungeons and Dragons, the DM sets what's called like the DC, and that's the number that you have to beat to succeed. So say you want to do a backflip onto the table. And
so it could be 17.
I would say, all right, you got to hit a 15 to do that.
Yeah.
And so you roll a D20. But say you're like a huge Goliath barbarian and you're not very nimble. Say you have a -3 to acrobatics, and then you'd have to roll your dice -3 from it, and you'd have a lower chance. So different characters are better and have a higher chance at doing different things. Like if you're a rogue, like a super sneaky guy, and you're like, oh, I want to sneak into this room so I can listen to this conversation at this war table, and you have a +7 to stealth, and it's a DC 15, like it's almost impossible for you not to do it. right?
That makes sense.
So it's a lot more than just like 50-50 chances for a lot of
Interesting.
things.
Interesting. Well, yeah, good answer. Good answer.
Dude, that
I
was so
wrote
fun.
that and I was like, he's going to
I was
have
so
a heyday
excited, dude. That was
with
great. I love D&D so much.
Do you remember, we can censor.
Yeah.
Do you remember Will from high school?
Yeah. Which one?
Fuck.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Will.
Do you remember Jack and Oliver from high school?
No.
Jack and Oliver, your face?
Fuck. See, I was trying to do will you keep sucking my balls?
Oh, seriously?
But you didn't say will.
No, Will?
You didn't say will.
Yeah.
So I was like,
that blew up right in your face, motherfucker.
Yeah, but I said no. I didn't say Jack and all over.
Oh, that's fair.
You know. Anyway, I don't know how these jokes work.
We have fun. We have fun here.
Who is your favorite porn star? No.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
man.
I read the question wrong. Who is your least favorite porn star? In reality,
Least favorite.
it would probably be like a family member, right?
I don't even know how to answer this question, dude. Let me think. Like, I'm trying to think
Don't
of
answer.
No, I'm thinking of like if there's any who've done like morally wrong things, in my opinion. But I will say, okay, I'll give you an answer for this. I would say, as far as favorite porn star goes, just people who are on OnlyFans. I genuinely am a big supporter of that because, like, I think
Danny spends thousands on OnlyFans a month. Like,
no,
every month.
I don't spend
He
any money on
loves-
OnlyFans. I've paid for OnlyFans before because I think that, like, sex work and that kind of thing, like, they're doing a service and you should pay them, not the companies that, like, you know, sell people into like sex trafficking,
which is what happens.
Which is what happens. Like, when someone has an OnlyFans, they can control everything that happens for the most part.
For ideally, they're more in control. And
They're more in control.
You're not paying a big corporation that
and
is
the money's
literally
going to them,
trafficking
and they can
humans.
decide what they're comfortable doing, and they get all the money from it. So I think just people on OnlyFans. I don't watch porn anymore.
Yeah.
But
when you did,
when I did,
I wasn't giving money to
I
no
paid.
corporation.
I paid for it. Because
is-
like you can, if you say like, oh, but I'm not spending any money. They're not getting money out of me. Like, yes, they are.
Yeah.
When you view porn online, the advertisements, they're getting money off of your viewership.
But it's not the people who should be getting it, which is the people who were fucking each other.
Yeah.
You know.
It's the people putting in the elbow grease.
Exactly. Though the thing is, it's such a weird thing. This is going to be the most. And I'm not trying to sound like the Christian nationalist or anything. But
where's this going?
But why is porn so normalized? And I'm not saying pornography like shouldn't exist. I'm saying the corporations running porn.
Well,
what?
It's an easy answer. It's profitable.
It's profitable, but why, as a society, have we let the big porn corporations just go, yeah, like just walk all over us? And the thing is, it's sad because it's addictive. It's the same thing with like cigarettes, drugs, and shit, where it's like you can't take it away because people will be so mad, you know?
Yeah, but you know the negatives of the porn industry are almost like way more harmful than that because it's at the expense of human beings.
Life.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could argue like the tobacco industry when they're picking, you know, the tobacco, it's slaves. Doing that, you know.
But so is, you know, your phone and your pants,
clothes,
and
but we're
getting off track. We're getting off track.
It is directly affected. Like the people you are watching are getting trafficked. Not all the time, but lots of the time.
But a lot of the time, if you're on like the big websites,
and lots of it isn't even. Like,
lots of it isn't consensual.
You know,
lots of it is like they're not getting paid fairly or at all.
And that's the thing is when you're young and you're a kid, I feel like you. How would I put it? You're told not to do it so much that you do. You know, like you're curious. You're
Totally.
a kid, and what is sad is that it is so accessible. To me as a 12-year-old, I could have just looked up porn, and I did, and I found it, you know?
Absolutely.
And
I mean, I think I've said this before on the podcast. Like, I genuinely think it would be a great thing if all porn was behind a paywall. If all porn was behind a paywall. Because like no 12-year-old, if I was 12 and I was like, you have to pay to see porn, I'd be like, well, there goes that idea.
No, literally.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm not gonna get my mom's credit card.
What
you know
they
what
should
I mean?
do is they should make it where you at least have to pay, maybe have to have an ID proving you're over 18.
Yeah,
because,
totally. I'm such a fan of that.
Because how is, again, a 12-year-old gonna, they would have to get their parents' ID and then their parents would go, what's this $20 out of my account, you know?
Yeah.
It'd be so easy. But I don't know, it's just, it's a sad thing, you know, like no one, it's as addictive as like drugs, you know, to some people.
Totally.
And if
and
you
it can
look at,
like destroy your mental state and your self-confidence.
Oh, yes.
And like your relationships.
like I've had to like repair my idea of sex, you know?
100% you have to repair your idea of sex.
Turns out you're supposed to enjoy it.
You're not. Turns out you're also supposed to love the other person.
Yeah, exactly. You're supposed to share a human connection with someone. You're not supposed to just go bang as many people as you can. And if you want to do that, to each their own. But at the same time, I'm like, if I had sex.
Well, the other thing too with that is like, they're the people who have polyamorous relationships. Like they find beauty and love in there too.
Exactly.
That isn't on porn. You know, like it's more than that.
Porn is just like if everyone had sex like porn, which people do, it's just like go as hard as you can and then it's done and that's it. You know?
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go fucking do something else.
If you are addicted to porn and you're like, oh, but like I don't know how to quit, go to Smut.
Yeah, read some Smut.
That's my recommendation.
That's not bad because you get the love.
You get the love because I've talked about this with my partner too. It's like I feel like Smut is such a great. That's how I like waned off of porn completely, even from like OnlyFans.
You read Smut?
Yes.
What was it? The fairy Smut?
The fairy Smut?
That was a big thing going on TikTok.
I don't remember that. But like it targets more like because I feel like when you're watching porn, it's only the physical aspect. But if you're reading Smut, it's like because you have like the insight into the minds, it's like it's more like about the romantic and like emotional experience of a sexual interaction. And that like once you like rewire your brain to that,
to understand that,
I feel like it's just way healthier, in my opinion.
I read a Smut like couple pages of a saucy part, you know?
Yeah.
And I was at a party and someone just had a Nook or whatever, a Kindle.
Yes.
I haven't used the word Nook. It's been a minute, dude. Have you seen them? You remember those?
Yeah, I remember.
Oh my God. Where was that even? Barnes and Noble Nook?
Yeah. I think so. I don't know.
I don't know. But the Kindle, they handed it to me and I was like, is that Smut? They're like, yeah. And I was like, I want to read it. And she's like, oh, and backs it up and shows it to me. And I was reading it, and I got sweaty. I was like, I can't read this here, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy. But yeah, no, I like what you said. I like what you said about paywall and
also Smut, like no one's sex trafficked because it's
fake.
It's fake. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Now, without the band, if this band didn't exist, what would you be doing with your life?
Oh, shit. If the band didn't exist, I would probably... that's a very good question. There are a lot of things that I thought about doing. I thought about going into psychology or psychiatry, but I feel like both of those industries are super fucked up to have to try to have a career in. Like, I wanted to be a therapist for a long time, but then, like, I was like, I'm not going to go to school for 8 years just to have a job that doesn't pay super well.
Which sucks.
And then also the thing is, it's like genuinely, I think being a therapist would be a super fulfilling job, but it's also like the most emotionally exhausting job that you could ever have.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I can handle that. Honestly, right now, I think if the band wasn't a thing, I would probably go into writing for like movies and TV shows, or producing for other bands, or like voice acting, or probably one of those. Yeah,
you'd probably be doing another band, maybe. Right?
I'd maybe be doing another band. Yeah, I guess my brain was like, oh, if I wasn't in a band at all,
in music, yeah. But that is an option.
But if it wasn't Homestyle Dinner Rolls, I'd probably do.
It'd be Sunfish.
I love Sunfish, dude.
I love Sunfish.
I'd probably
Queen
do
Adilla? Oh.
a punk band, just straight up punk.
Yeah.
Or straight up metal or jazz.
Yeah. I could see all of that.
Yeah. And that's probably like in 20 years when Homestyle is on indefinite hiatus.
Yeah.
Where I'll go.
and just do whatever, you know?
Those are the other fields that, but then like every time I thought about one of those other fields, like psychology, psychiatry, or writing or producing, like I was like, I just want to be in a band.
Yeah.
I just want to be in a band. That's what I love. That's what I want. That's my passion.
Exactly.
That is the truest passion.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And it's a good way to get all your emotions out, whether you're performing.
Yes.
Whether it's a sort of therapy, whether you're performing, whether you're writing, you know,
Totally.
where you can just let it out, you know. You have an outlet when you're in a band. It's hard for people to find an outlet. And honestly, that's what creative fields are most of the time, you know.
Yeah.
It's just an outlet.
But you know what? I'm super thankful for my time pursuing psychology or writing or producing because all of those have fueled the band and all of those have helped my performance and my songwriting and our self-production that we do.
And honestly, I think it's good to have a band because it's like I see how a lot of bands fail, I should say. I see how people get together, have a great time for a while, argue, break up. But I think the way we have it set up is me and you, we will argue. And that's the point.
Yeah.
You're supposed to argue.
As with any like relationship, be it personal or business, there has to be conflict.
But there's never been a point... I told my girlfriend this. I was like, I don't know how people can, and I think she might have said it. I don't know how people can call names. Like if you were dating someone and they just call you like "fuck you," you never like
people do that.
Even
it's like normal to them.
If me and you, it's the same thing. Like I would never say "fuck you" if I'm mad at you,
like intentionally.
Yeah, I would never say "fuck you" if I'm truly mad at you. You know, I would never. I would never, you know, start calling names or anything like that.
Oh, this happened, you fucking idiot.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not. We never make it personal.
Yeah.
You know, we always express.
That's a great way. We've never done that.
You because you're supposed to show emotion. You know, you're supposed to get mad. You're supposed to, but what we do is we communicate it.
Yeah, because it's coming from a place of this sucks. Or what happened sucks, or what you said sucks, or what I said sucks, and I want to fix it.
Exactly. It's
not this happened, and I'm just gonna take it out on you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Bands, and I'm not saying we're like the most emotionally mature people ever or anything.
Of course.
But I can see how like Oasis, Liam and Noel, both horribly emotionally stunted, had a terrible childhood.
Yeah.
And their brothers, and they name call, they attack, they yell at each other, they cause mischief, you know.
Yeah.
and it doesn't work. And I can see how lots of bands.
I think the second you do something like call a name or just like throw a little dig, it puts that wall there of like, all right, we're not on the same team anymore. Yeah. I'm on my side, you're on your side, and it's me versus you.
I'm right, you're wrong.
But when it's like, hey, this happened and it really hurt my feelings and I need to express why it hurt my feelings. I don't want to talk to you. Then that wall's not there. You're still on the same team.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You need to stay on the same team because teams, it's not like teams are perfect all the time ever. You know, you are supposed to argue and you're supposed to have disagreements because that's human nature. And then sometimes things will go one person's way and not the other's, you know?
Yeah.
And the other person is going to have to suck it up, you know?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's much better than screaming at each other or anything.
1,000,000%. And I'm so thankful that we are able to have that when there's conflict. And we're able to face conflict. And also, like, another part of that is I'm happy that we're comfortable with conflict and bringing up conflict because we know that, like, if I express that I'm upset about this, it's not going to be the end of the world.
It will be okay.
It will be okay, and it'll probably just get better.
It'll be uncomfortable for maybe an
hour,
you know,
but we'll work it out.
And then we'll work it out. And it's just interesting because, like, I've not really had a relationship besides, like, with certain members of my family where you can just do that, you know?
Fuck yeah, buddy.
But then of
Me
course,
neither, honestly.
it's because no one was ever taught that. Like,
No.
no one, even our parents, like, everyone's trying their best, but no one was taught, like, hey, if you argue, you know, at least specifically me, it's like, if you argue, they don't hate you.
Can you imagine if there was like a class at school that was like emotional health?
Everyone would just be like, yeah.
That'd be amazing. Like that was
Everyone
why
be
was that
happy.
not a thing?
I don't know. The two-party system would be gone, man.
No, like if there was like a whole curriculum in school that was like, here's how to be emotionally healthy.
Literally.
If anything, it was like one chapter of the health class that we took for 1 year.
Exactly. You
Nuts.
It'd be like, communicate.
What's up, Michael?
Mikey. Well, we do the podcast whenever Mikey goes to the gym and comes back.
That's true. That's true. How was the gym, Mikey?
It was good.
Tell the people.
The gym was good.
Fuck yeah.
Let's go.
Let's
give
go.
it up for Mikey.
Dude, I'm really liking these questions, man. I'm having a great time.
You didn't read these, did you?
No.
They were face up. Danny,
No, I
a
didn't read
relationship is about trust, okay? We just talked about this, and I just feel I need to communicate that. If you looked...
And I feel like I need to communicate that you're not respecting my boundaries.
No. You're mansplaining. Danny, it's my turn, okay? Remember, we had this thing. Anyway.
Bit.
That's a bit, guys. It's a bit. People post that. They're like,
They're like, oh my God, Homestuck Dinner House is going to break up. They're so mad.
when do you want to die?
Ooh, probably like
when?
Ideally when. Honestly, like, this is a little fucked up. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
And no, you know what? No, this changed. I was going to say, like, I'd be content dying anytime.
Yeah.
But that's changed. I want to live for a long time now. Which I
Really?
think that's beautiful.
What?
I know, yeah. Because, like, if you talked to me, like, a year ago or something, I'd be like, I've made my peace.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I would love to live until I'm, like, 80. Mm-hmm. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Because then I could live a whole life surrounded by the people I love and, like, just make the most out of every day. I'd love to die. I don't want to be super old. I want to be, like, old to the point where I can still do things.
Yeah.
I want to be old to the point where, like, I want to still take care of my body and my health. But the second that, like, I can't get out of bed or my mind starts to slip
I was
or
about
my
to say
memory
that.
starts to slip, I would just want to go.
The thing is, I was going to say, as long as I have my health, you know.
Yeah.
I talked to this guy when I used to do phone sales, and he said he was 70 years old. And we're talking on the phone. And I was like, oh, someone missed an appointment or something, and I was going to get it back on and steal the sale. And I was like, okay, I'll talk to the technicians. And he goes, okay, and you call me after 2, because if you call me between 1 and 2, I'll be at the gym. And I was like,
Crazy.
what? I was like, you go.
I love that.
I was like, you go to the gym? He's like, yeah. He's like, I do the Stairmaster, I lift, and I was like, what the? And he's like, he said like his mom or grandma lived till she was like 100.
Wow.
Because she just went to the gym, and he was like, she was healthy, and that's how I'm gonna be. When I talked to him, I was like, this guy's like maybe 50. You
Wow,
know?
yeah.
It was just crazy.
That's the type of shit I'm trying to be on, dude. I mean, like, my grandpa, he's 75.
Damn.
And like a month ago,
he doesn't
we
look
were
75,
we were
bro.
chopping down trees.
Yeah.
We were chopping down trees together. He was operating a chainsaw.
The grandpa, the one I went and saw.
Yeah, 75.
He does not look
And
75.
he gets up every day.
nimble,
and
bro.
he just goes out and like does service for his neighbors.
Wow.
Like he does yard work and he jokes around and he
Dude, my grandpa
is
does that.
happily married, and it's like that's the type of shit I'm trying to be on.
My grandpa literally does that.
Yeah.
He's like 87, and he was telling us about, he's like, yeah, I was helping my neighbors with like their weeds or something, and he's like, yeah, they're old. And we're like, how old? And he's like 75. And he's
Crazy.
87.
But like the second I start to slip,
Yeah.
I just want to be gone. Because
But-
it's like amnesia is so sad.
Oh, it's so
that it's
sad.
like I don't want any time of being. I don't want my last moments of this precious, beautiful
be-
life to be hooked up to a bunch of machines and like
Yeah.
half awake for 5 years and then die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now, question, if you were in a coma and you're this young,
Yeah.
how long until you want them to pull the plug?
A year.
Yeah. I want to but you hear about people. That's my only beef with that. I'm like, I hear about people who live, like they wake up like 2 or 3 years later, right?
Dude, I'll be honest. I think I'd be too sad. I think I just would want to go, because it's like if I went into a coma today, and I woke up in 2 years, I'd wake up and like my relationship would be gone. You know what I mean? And all of the progress we made in like the band and my work would be that all that time would be gone. All that time, like I wouldn't get to see my nephew grow up. I wouldn't get to have time with my family. Like I feel like I would wake up and just spiral at all the time I missed.
After the spiral, don't you think you might realize I got another chance?
Maybe.
I get to make music again. I get to form relationships again. I get to see my nephew another day. Don't you see that?
No, you make a good point. I probably would want to keep going.
I think literally, I thought I was thinking about writing. I don't know if you would write a will for that. Not a will, but like, you know how people have like do not resuscitate and shit like that. I would write, if I'm in a coma, please pull the plug once it gets too expensive.
Totally. I don't want my family to be like
to suffer
working 3 jobs. Just
that would be the spiral. Is you wake up 2 years later and now you're $1 million in debt because you were on machines.
And you have to just work for the rest of your life.
In Canada, if this podcast were in Canada, we would just be that wouldn't even be a factor.
I know it's really sad that we have to like. Our first thought is like, oh man, it'd be so expensive to be in a coma.
There's people Uber when they like break their arm because they don't want to pay for an ambulance.
So
that's ridiculous.
In the quote unquote richest country in the world, give me a fucking break.
It's so stupid. And I mean, if they're going to benefit off of sick people, they're going to make more.
That's why I genuinely think that like all billionaires are horrible people.
They are.
Because there's no chance that you get to have that much wealth. It's like if you have $1 billion and there's a guy out there who broke his arm and has to Uber so he can pay for it, you're a horrible piece of shit.
Literally.
You are the scum of the earth.
Because you can live without that.
Yeah, because it's like if you have so much money that you will be fine for the rest of your life and then some, and that's the state of the country, you're a selfish piece of shit. Give that away.
Exactly. I think we need to use maybe scare tactics against billionaires. I'm not going to elaborate on that. But because once a few of them have been scared, we'll say, like that one, then the other ones might go, okay, we'll compromise, because the thing is, it's like, you've won capitalism. How about after 500 million, after 950 billion of all income, not just your income, but like your stocks increasing, everything, all of your assets. Once you're past, you just have to sell it. You have
100%.
to not sell it, but you have to donate it. Get rid of it. You can't have it. You won capitalism,
but then
and you're going to be okay.
The media goes, communism, you're a communist.
They're like, you're a socialist, you're a communist, and it's like, okay. Now, is communism a bad thing, or have dictators tried communism?
Yeah,
that's
true, man.
And you know who's trying capitalism right now? A dictator.
We live in a dictatorship right now.
Literally.
No, we're not getting to a dictatorship. Now we're under a dictatorship.
Now it's just obvious.
Yeah.
So I think we.
And if anyone out there doesn't believe me, like, when a federal court agrees on something, and
the Supreme Court
when the Supreme Court
country
unanimously agrees on something, and the president's just like, nah, I'm good.
That is dictatorship.
That's dictatorship, because that shows that checks and balances doesn't matter, democracy doesn't matter. All that matters is who has the money and who's on top.
Exactly. That shows that no matter what anyone says, even the people in charge of him. The people in charge of the president.
But no one's going to tell him no. Dictatorship. Anyway, let's go to the... Oh my God. It's so funny how we'll be talking about like just like random bullshit, and then like 2 minutes later, we're in a dictatorship and democracy is dead.
Now, I want you to close your eyes.
Okay, eyes closed.
And just think about the past couple days. Yeah. And just tell me
right now.
What has not what happened in those past couple days, but what's been on your mind these past couple days? What have you been thinking about?
What have I been thinking about the past couple days? Honestly, like genuinely, I would say the past couple days. So 2 days ago was my 10-month anniversary with my partner, and I've been really happy and fulfilled. And we had like a really nice picnic up Little Cottonwood Canyon. And like I've been the past week, if you asked me like 5 days ago,
Yeah.
I would probably say that the biggest thing on my mind would be I'm doing all of this work and I still can't pay my rent and I still have to go out door dashing until 2 a.m. just so that I can eat, and I'm borrowing money from my mom and my partner, and I'm so sad. But then I got paid and I had a really lovely date and I paid off all my debts to the people I love, and I've been feeling really good.
Good, man.
Genuinely. I've been feeling very fulfilled and just thankful. I'm trying to count the good
Yeah.
and the little things. I'm trying to smell the roses a little more and just take steps every day to better my life and the lives of those around me. I think it's hard sometimes to get so caught up in all of the, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, so caught up in all the overwhelming negatives. But I think, have you listened to the song? Oh, I can't remember what it was. A TikTok trend, but it was like, "It's you that I love," as the atom bomb locks in.
Yeah.
Oh, it's you. I think the concept of that song is one of the most beautiful concepts in the world, of like just sitting with the people you love and just enjoying and just loving and living while bombs head your way, while the earth is on fire around you. And that's kind of where I've been the past few days. It's like, yes, I don't have a lot of money. Yes, like the world is going to shit and it's very stressful, but I am doing everything I can to improve my mental health and my relationships and my physical health, and I've been happy.
Now, you want to get real?
Let's get real.
Do you think it's time? Well, I think the answer is obvious, but maybe a new job.
Yeah, I do.
I just from an outside perspective, I'm like, brother, I think you need.
I need a new job.
And it's not.
And I need change, too.
Yeah.
Even more than just the money.
It's not the money. Take that out. You would still want to. You've been at the same job for how long?
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think I need a new job. The problem is, like,
And
I'm just taking too much time off in the summer. But
yeah. Oh no, that's true. That's true. But
but
maybe
after that, for sure.
because I'm maybe it's on my mind because I'm getting a job. But I'm just like, man, like no one deserves to be overworked, you know?
No, it's hard, man.
It's stupid, you know?
And it's just crazy because it's like there's so many people out there who probably can relate to the feeling of being like, I do so much and I still can't pay my rent.
Yeah.
I'm working, 2 jobs and I'm still having to borrow money, or I'm still in debt to my school. I think about, like, if I was still in college and having to pay tuition, I'd be fucked.
Oh yeah. Dude,
You know what I mean?
it was phrased on Instagram. Someone phrased this very well. They said, the reason people are upset about billionaires is because you cannot physically work hard enough to be a billionaire. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot physically do computer work. You can make good money doing a job, but you cannot. It's literally not humanly possible.
You can't get there through
By
effort and
working.
hard work.
What they're
You have to get there by manipulating and cutting corners
You have to-
and fucking people over.
and for the simple fact that they started the company, and sure, you can call that hard work. Yeah, okay, you start a company, it's successful, you advertise it, and then you just sit, and all your money.
Yeah.
You can't work hard enough to make $100 a minute or however much they're making. You know, it's like, it's just not possible. So, and then there's people going, man, I wish I could work. I didn't have to work as much, to pay rent.
Yeah. Dude, another thing I will say about, like, where my mental space has been at the last couple days, like, I think I've had a lot of surface level stress as far as, like, there's a lot I have to do, but my core, like the core of my being, is so great, and it's at a core of peace and happiness and excitement and love and aspiration and determination.
It's because it's Gemini season, bitch.
Yeah,
let's go.
But I think and Pride Month, and I think
and Pride Month.
That happy Pride, by the way.
Thank you.
I just think that like, no matter what happens in your life, if you're broke, if shit goes wrong, if you just take care of the core, take care of like
in here
the real just like center of your being, you'll be just fine.
Yeah, and at the very least, like what helps me is just breathing. Like you know, the
small things.
It's really weird how small that is. But literally yesterday I was just driving and I just held for 4 seconds.
Yeah.
I did that for an entire drive. I listened to music still, and I just I did everything normal besides I just breathed and only thought, okay, in, out.
That's what I do every time I'm like stressed at work. I just take a second and I'm like, I'm not going to think about what's going on around me at all. And I'm just going to go.
Because
and then I'll jump back into it.
It's a literal like reset to your, I don't know if it's the nervous system or something where
your anxiety levels, that thermometer that keeps raising and raising.
It has a physical effect.
Yeah.
Like your brain overrides and you can get tense and stuff. But if you breathe, you're all good. So yeah, I mean,
great question.
Take care of yourself. Now,
thanks, you too, brother.
Of course. I have this final question from Mary Matro.
Oh. This is what you got from the email.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And I like it because it's 4 questions. Hi, Jake and Danny. This is Mary. I don't know. And I go to high school in D.C. That means Washington, D.C.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's not a state. It's like a Providence? What's it called?
I don't know. I don't know.
Should we look that up? I'm going to look it up. Is Washington, D.C. a state or a...
I don't think it's a state.
I know it's not a state, but what would it be called? It's a federal district. Okay. Well, that answers that.
Oh, of course, a federal district.
Yes, a federal district. I know that. Why is the head fucking... Wait a sec. Why is the head office of America not a part of a state?
I don't know. Probably same reason the Vatican's its own country.
So it can... be exempt from certain laws, perchance?
Perchance.
I have a few questions, but they're short, so you'll manage. Okay.
So you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
You fucking drama queen.
I know you have trouble reading.
You'll be fine, okay? You don't have to... you don't have to make such a big fuss about these questions. I made them short for you, you big... so funny.
Big dummies.
Thank you for being considerate.
What do you guys think about the idea that rock and roll will never be mainstream successful anymore? Why do you think that is? And do you think that rock is really dead forever?
Why do you want it to be mainstream successful? That's not very rock and roll.
Well, it was rock and roll. The thing is, rock and roll was mainstream successful. It's kind of the same like Nirvana's grunge, you know. Nirvana, like that sound was nowhere. It was nowhere. Unless you went to like basements and listened to it, you know? And then it became mainstream. And I'm like, well, I'm sure they didn't really want it to be mainstream. I'm not sure if the original creators of rock and roll wanted to be mainstream, you know? But thank God it was, because if it wasn't mainstream, we wouldn't hear about it, you know?
That's fair.
That's my... I don't like when things are corporatized, but I'm like, can you imagine if we just didn't know about Guns N' Roses?
Yeah.
We didn't know about... there's fucking like... Before there's Muddy Waters, you know, there's Chuck Berry, like the OG rock and rollers. If they didn't become the Beatles, if they didn't become mainstream, then we wouldn't know about the Beatles.
It's true.
We wouldn't know about any of them. But
I think that's a very good point, and I think there is definitely something to be said for it's good when rock and roll is mainstream. But I also think there's such beauty in like the non-mainstream and the small bands and the small shows and the obscure niche artists. But also I'm thinking about it, talking about it out loud. It's like I wouldn't want to go to a niche concert and find niche rock and roll bands if I didn't start by listening to the Beatles
Yeah.
or My Chemical Romance
point.
or Blink-182 to open that door for me.
Exactly.
So
Imagine if they just gatekept that.
yeah,
Like, and I think maybe mainstream, things don't have to be mainstream, but maybe at least big in that realm of music, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
if Guns N' Roses never made it on the radio, but they were huge in rock and roll, if that's how music worked, that would be sick.
great.
Where it's like, this is big right now in this genre.
yeah,
You know, and it's not on the radio and all that. It's like you have to look it up and find it, but you'll find it because it's popular. You look up rock and roll, Guns N' Roses pops up.
I'm interested, like, as far as the question of, like, do you think it'll ever become mainstream again?
Greta Van Fleet.
I guess I don't really know. I don't really know if I've thought too much about that, but it's interesting to see the trends in mainstream music, like how it was on such a pop punk kick, like a few years ago with like Machine Gun Kelly and all of that. It's kind of weird thinking about it because it's like about at least in like the 20s right now, the current music state, the genres that become quote unquote mainstream is almost like just always a bastardization of what it really is. Like right now, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, for the last little while, pop punk was mainstream. Mm-hmm. But now country is mainstream.
Yep.
Right now it's country. But what we're seeing, kind of like with pop punk, it's like we're seeing, you know, the pop artists who the label was like, country's big, make country inspired music.
It's sad. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, just as sad as, you know, like a couple years ago when it was like, all right, pop punk is big, make pop punk inspired music. And a few years before that where it was hip hop is big, make hip hop inspired music. And a few years before that where it's like EDM and club music is big.
yeah.
Do that. And all the mainstream trends.
Yeah, and if you go back on the biggest artists that have been famous for, like, let's say Katy Perry. She's been famous for a while. She's going through every phase along with all the other artists.
It's true.
They're being told what to feed you. And I have a total cognitive dissonance because on one hand, I'm very happy. You listen to Chapel Roan. She has real acoustic guitars playing.
I do think that mainstream music is in the best state that it's been in a long
while.
time.
You listen to Sabrina Carpenter. You listen to...
I love Sabrina. I love Olivia Rodrigo. I love
They're
Billie
using
Eilish.
Olivia Rodrigo. Mwah.
Right?
Like it's a perfect perfect mix where it's like it's poppy enough that they'll listen, but also it's real. There's real instruments.
Yeah.
And Olivia Rodrigo's album, like the solos, the guy was using like the Indian scale. I forget what it's called, but I was like, this is like bizarre to hear it in a mainstream song.
Yeah.
He's first off a guitar solo. Second, a guitar solo using whatever mode that's called. I forgot the Egyptian
and
mode.
such cool pop punk influence in Olivia Rodrigo songs. I love the pop punk influence.
So that's one side, and the other part is they're ruining it. They're ruining country,
like with Machine Gun Kelly and the perception of punk and quote unquote emo.
Yes, and they're like, this is rock, this is punk, this is country, and it's like, no, this is pop. It's mostly pop. I listened to Beyonce's album because you asked me. You said, "Have you listened to Cowboy Carter?" We had.
I liked it. I liked it.
I hated it. Like
really.
Okay, I didn't. There was I think 2 songs where I was like, "This is good."
Yeah.
But it was the ones that were actually country sounding. The one with Post Malone is
I didn't listen.
It's a pop song.
But also Post Malone's country album. Don't like it at all.
I like that. I like Post Malone's
really,
country
I
album.
hate it. I hate it so much.
But it's for the fact that it's real instruments. There's a real drummer. There's real guitars and everything. But then you look and it's like a ton of random songwriters making a pop song that has real instruments. You know, it's like But it is more country.
To be fair though, like that style of country, your Morgan Wallens and your Luke Combs, that's the stuff that I despise.
Okay, Morgan Wallen, I'll say Post Malone borders the edge with his album, but I will say, think about country. Let's say when you were a kid in the car and it came on. Did you ever listen to it?
No, actually, I didn't like country until a few years ago.
Oh shit! Well, that's where you get the "Country Girl Shake It For Me," which we like. You know?
Luke Bryan,
the one Luke Bryan song we like.
Carrie Underwood.
That's where you get. Yes, and where it's more rock and country-ish. And I feel like some of that's coming back. Or that one guy that made the song about loving his wife.
Yeah, I loved that. I love
that
song.
sounds like it would be on the radio 10 years ago. And that's
It
why
ain't the whiskey, that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good. So that's where I'm like, but like Tyler Childers?
Childers. So
Perfect.
amazing. Tyler Childers, Coulter Wall, obviously.
Yes.
Is so amazing.
I'm so happy people made that mainstream.
Yeah.
I'm like,
true.
because that is true country. Like 100%. There's not even a lick of like, oh no, it's a little poppy. No, nope.
Yeah.
It is a country song.
But also, it's like, I don't think that, good music needs to ever be mainstream. I think, like, that's kind of the beauty of it. Like, I think about, like, real punk music has never been mainstream. Ever. But, like, there's such a community around punk, and, like, I love, like, Misfits and the whole 90s scene. But that's never mainstream, and it never has had to be. And the whole point of it is that it isn't mainstream, and it's anti-establishment. You know what I'm talking about? And, like, also ska has never been mainstream, but, like, you go to an Aquabats concert, and it's not like there's going to be any diminished from, like, an Olivia Rodrigo concert. You know what I'm talking about?
Green Day.
Green Day, very mainstream. Green Day was very mainstream.
And it's good. I'm glad they decided, because what made them, they were already mainstream, but what made them even bigger, is huger a word?
I don't think so.
Huger. What made them larger?
What made them huger?
Sound like a kid saying. American Idiot.
Yeah.
I'm glad they
I'm
decided.
so glad they went mainstream with that.
Yeah, that and 21st Century Breakdown. I'm so glad they decided to get political, and it went off,
Yeah.
But they did influence, they did become, I wouldn't say more poppy, but they brought that Green Day catchiness.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think for me, a song, not every song, but I like when a song is at least a little catchy.
I do too.
Because then I remember it, of course. But also, there's songs that you can tell are just like those songs on the radio. It's just made to be so catchy, like over
like
the
Benson
top.
Boone.
Yes, exactly. Like to a fault.
Yeah.
Because that's in my head, but I'm unhappy about it.
No, literally, like the Moonbeam ice cream gets stuck in my head, and I'm like, fuck.
And I don't know. I did listen to that full song yesterday because
really?
I haven't heard
it. To be fair, haven't listened to the whole song.
I listened to the whole song and I disliked it more.
Oh shit!
Because
I thought you were gonna be like, it was all right.
No. I think I think the best part of the song
is the Moonbeam ice cream part. That's not good. I didn't like that part.
The thing is, I think it's catchy and fun, but then once I'm done listening to it, I don't want to think about it anymore.
Dude, I felt so bad the other day at work. I was just going off about how much I fucking hate that song and how I don't like Benson Boone. And my coworker, he was like, yeah. And he was connected to the speaker, and then it came on like next on his playlist, and I was like,
"You're like,
oh
shit." And that's the thing; people can like what they like. At the end of the day,
we're not cops. You can listen to whatever. And why do you care about our opinion? It doesn't fucking matter. Listen to what you go. I like that song. Dude, that matters.
I listen to some bad music, like straight up. I remember.
I all day today. I've been listening to the Undertale soundtrack and only that.
Yeah, well, okay, that is pretty good.
It's pretty fire.
To some people, that would be so bad.
To some people, they would listen to that and be like, "Why are you listening to video game music? You fucking nerd!"
And you're telling me that the Post Malone album wasn't good enough?
No, literally. Some people listen to like, again, a lot of people don't like punk. Like I love the Cramps and Misfits and
the Cramps. Ow. I've never heard of the Cramps.
But a lot of people listen to that and like, that doesn't sound good. Why do you like that? It's like people have different taste, and that's okay. You don't need to agree with everybody. Just listen to what you like. Yeah. Fuck them.
It does make me sad when I haven't met a person like this in a while, where their whole playlist is straight up just whatever is popular, like just whatever is mainstream.
I know a few people. I'm not gonna name them,
but again.
Can you imagine how funny that would be if we named them?
Okay, so
their first and last name. Just put them on blast on the internet.
on the podcast, and then clip this and put it on Instagram
and tag them and send it to them and say "fuck you," don't fucking
and
talk to
everyone
me.
DM them and make fun of them.
And then dox them and then post their home address.
Post this clip and then put a black screen of their addresses
and pictures of their house
and their family. And like their
dog license plate number and like put their route to work and like their job and buy everyone like plane tickets so they can all fly to Utah so we can harass them.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That'd be crazy, bro.
But to be fair, we said already what is mainstream right now for the most part is better than it
it's
has
better.
been.
Like I've had arguments at work because I genuinely say I would take Sabrina Carpenter over any Katy Perry song. Any Katy Perry song.
What about what's that one I really like?
I know which one you're talking about.
One That Got Away.
The One That Got Away. Yeah.
I love that song.
I would totally take Juno over that song. I love Juno. I love Please Please Please. I love Sabrina so much.
Wow.
And Olivia, all of them.
I
don't like 2010s pop at all.
I don't like what's it called? Because 2010s pop is all like
it's
that
so
that remix shit.
It's so clubby. You know what I mean?
Everyone got, but you know, if Sabrina was, she might have been making music at that time. She made a really good song when she was like older, but still on like just about to leave Disney Channel.
Interesting. I don't know if I've heard it.
And I posted about it one time forever ago, but I was like, this is her best song. And it's called Can't Blame a Girl for Trying.
Oh, interesting.
It's just so catchy. And then I was obsessed with Meghan Trainor at the time.
Yeah.
And I look at the songwriting credits. Meghan Trainor wrote it.
Really?
I was like,
what?
Let's
go! That's crazy. Dude, I genuinely think like the current state of pop music, we can thank Billie Eilish and Phineas.
Thank you, Billie Eilish.
I genuinely think they reshaped pop music for the like 2020s.
It's interesting because I heard Billie Eilish's parents have money. And I'm not discrediting Billie Eilish at all.
No.
I heard that. But I think it is interesting. It's like Billie Eilish is like the most mainstream pop, like backed by a label and making a ton of money from that. But it's because Billie made music that was purely Billie.
Yeah.
Like I remember when
it was out on SoundCloud first.
Yes, when it first came out.
And it was self-produced.
People were listening to it. I was like, I had never heard anything like that in my life.
No.
That's actually interesting. We experienced a musical
we
evolution.
Experienced a shift.
It didn't even click for me that it was happening until now. Like she really did.
She changed the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where it's like, yes, you're mainstream. Yes, your parents had money, but you made music that was so original
that it impacted the entire
everyone.
world. Yeah.
Exactly. So good for you, Billie Eilish. That's a good point. Yeah, I love her music.
I know. It's really
so
good.
I like.
Should we get to the other three questions?
Oh my God! What's your favorite guitar? Gibson Les Paul and a Telecaster with humbuckers. Which I now have.
I think for me, that's really hard. I love a good telly. I think as far as for solos go, I love Prince so much. And
that P guitar,
the sound that he can like get out of a Telecaster, just is unlike any other tone that I've ever heard.
He's very good.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, dude.
I love Telecasters.
He did rip it. Didn't that one have? Did it have humbuckers or no? I don't know.
Which one?
The one in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or was it singles?
No, it was singles.
Attaboy.
It was singles. It was just a classic Tele setup. But I love Telecasters and Strats. I'm trying to think of other guitars that I really like. I love PRS. I think for me it would go a Telecaster is probably number one, and number two is probably just like your classic PRS with two humbuckers. Love that.
I will say PRSs play very, very nicely.
Very nicely.
You know, and they're smooth and they're set up well. I think, honestly, it's so weird, but maybe it's because I grew up listening to more rock and stuff, but literally all the basic guitars, just
Strat,
Gibson Les Paul, Strat, Telecaster, SG, maybe Explorer.
Yeah.
You know?
None of that crazy Kiesel fucking PRS Schecter.
It doesn't really, for some reason, like when I see a different shaped guitar, I'm just kind of like, oh, I don't like how that looks.
Interesting.
And it's because I'm just so, but like you know those square looking guitars with the two shiny humbuckers. I
don't know.
That doesn't look. It looks weird to me,
Yeah.
But at the same time, I get it, and I think we need different,
I love Ernie Ball guitars too.
Oh, with the
I love the St. Vincent, and I don't know what other guitar shapes they have, but I like the St. Vincent and how it sounds a lot.
I don't know, but yeah, good question. There's so many guitars.
There are. Many. You know what? Like, I think what it really comes down to too is it's like, just pick one you think looks cool and plays well.
Yeah, literally.
Like, you can make any guitar sound amazing.
That's true. Get it set up, make it.
Just get one that you love.
Just learn.
Just get one that you love.
And if you had to voice act all the characters in an animated movie or show, which would it be? SpongeBob, motherfucker.
If I had to voice act all of
Family Guy
characters, Family Guy,
just brain rot.
I'd do maybe like Phineas and Ferb. Maybe like Phineas and Ferb.
That's a good one.
Or like an anime would be fun. Like Attack on Titan. Be crazy.
I don't know what they sound like. Just anime sounding.
Yeah.
Did you watch Attack on Titan?
I did. I haven't finished it, but I love Attack on Titan.
Do you watch it English translated or?
Fuck no.
Okay. I just don't know how that works.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Did I just push a button?
I think as far as anime goes, personally, subbed always sounds better. Because the thing is, too, it's like, I feel like the medium, like, English just doesn't translate as well. And it doesn't, like, it doesn't sound right.
No.
And, when it's originally written in Japanese, a lot of the times just the delivery and, like, how it looks and sounds with the English, it just doesn't work. And it just doesn't sound good to me.
Makes more sense.
So, like, when you're watching it in the original Japanese, it feels a lot more authentic.
And that helps because you speak Japanese. 100%. Like, you are fluent. Do a speech in Japanese.
I am not fluent in Japanese.
No?
You're trying to embarrass me on the internet.
No, come on.
Because I'm not fluent. My sister's fluent in Japanese.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Damn.
I don't know if she's fluent, but she
speaks it?
Can speak it. Yeah.
That's cool.
It is cool. Are there any more questions?
Yeah. Should we say a prayer? I feel like we should say a prayer.
Yeah. Which God? There are many. We could speak to the God of corn. We could speak to the God.
What about the God of soybean oil?
Yeah, we could talk to
dear
the God of soybean oil, or the God of soybeans, or the God of beans, or the God of soy.
There's fucking many.
Many gods.
What do you want to do?
Let's do the God of. Let's just do the God of soy in general.
Okay. All of it.
All of it.
Do you want to go? You go.
Yeah. Dear Heavenly Soy God, it is your loyal soy boys here on this soying day, and we would like to say a prayer about how much we love soy milk and about how much it graces our...
Have you ever had soy milk?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, keep going.
Let's read the question.
Thank God we chose the right God out of all of those gods.
That's the God I worship.
Dude,
if I had to pick a God, I'd pick the God of soy.
No, me too, because there are so many...
If you had to worship one of the Greek gods, who would it be?
Zeus, because that's fucking
shit.
badass. Zeus, 100%.
That's pretty sick, dude.
What about you?
Throwing lightning and shit. I fuck with Poseidon.
Which water?
Water.
Oh,
and
that'd be
the
cool.
ocean. He's the god of the sea and horses.
Didn't they just do an Arnold movie with
Arnold
Schwarzenegger?
I didn't know who you were talking.
Yeah, I just didn't want to say the last name. I'm gonna be real, but he did Poseidon. I think he acted Poseidon.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Anyway, please. It's like that one song. No, I thought they were talking about. Please play a show in DC. We have a great atmosphere and a lot of young artists my age in a similar genre. Speaking of which, you really should listen to EPs by my friends, Starry Eyes by the Plastic Toys, and When Pigs Fly by Unknown Artist. Thank you. They're not a known artist? That's their name, is Unknown Artist. See, when I play files from my phone, it says Unknown Artist. So I've already listened to that.
That's a way to cheat
thing.
the system.
That is true.
Smart cookies.
Yeah, smart. Anyway,
let's play a show at the White House and then storm.
It's in Minecraft, that video game.
Yes.
The Minecraft White House.
Yes.
Yeah. What was
Anyways,
the question?
thanks. This has been great.
Yeah, we're gonna play.
Thanks for asking the fun questions.
We will play a show in DC one day, I'm sure, or around.
Yeah.
Probably not the. I can't believe it's not a state. Well, I know it's not a state, but I can't believe it's not like a territory. It's a federal county.
Yeah. All right, Jake, make a joke right now on the spot to end the podcast. Make a joke. Say
Knock,
something
knock.
funny. Who's there?
Fuck you.
God damn.